Welcome to Aligned Christ-Centered Yoga. My name is Linda and I'll be guiding our practice today. As we begin our practice today, my question for you is this: how is God providing for you right now? I was out in the yard today and in about 5 minutes, I picked these figs from our fig tree. So this fig tree is producing figs in abundance right now. And I Googled, are figs good for me? And I found out that they have anti-inflammatory powers and that they are also good sources of calcium, magnesium, and potassium. All three of which I tend to run low on and I really need. So I have some heart arrhythmia issues. The potassium and the magnesium are electrolytes that help that. And I am a woman of a certain age and the calcium keeps my bones strong. As I was picking them, the verse that kept coming to mind was taste and see that the Lord is good. It's from Psalm 34, but there's so much more than that in this psalm. The psalmist says this: I sought the Lord and he answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant and their faces are never covered with shame. The poor man called and the Lord heard him. He saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you his holy people, for those who fear him lack nothing. And throughout that word fear is a term of awe and respect. Those who are in deep and humble awe of the Lord lack nothing. Yes, God provided for his people physically. He provided them the olives and the grapes and the figs and the honey. He also provided for them spiritually, always staying with them, always connected with them, always showing his presence and revealing himself to him. And he protected them physically. That fig tree provides the most beautiful deep shade, protection from the harsh sun of summer. How is God providing for you today? I invite you to come to a comfortable seated position. Maybe the hips are elevated up on a blanket or a block. Gently rock a little bit, side to side, front to back. Find the sitting bones. Maybe even move the flesh a little bit away from those bones. Can you find that firm foundation? Feel rooted and grounded. Gently let the shoulders rise up to your ears. Exhaling, let them drop. So we'll be releasing the tight muscles of the hips and the upper back today. What are you letting go of? Maybe one more time. And close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. Let the day fade away. Let go of the to-do lists. Give yourself permission to be fully focused in the moment on the mat today. Begin to notice your breath as you begin, the pace and the quality. Can you breathe in and out through your nose? Maybe the breath can get a little bigger, creating space shoulder to shoulder and front to back, opening up the rib cage. Can you feel the belly rise and fall? Taking a deep breath is a skill. It takes practice. And that next inhale, let the arms rise up and overhead. And as you inhale, push those arms up with those serratus muscles, and then exhale as the hands come down. And bow your head. And as the arms rise, the gaze comes up. And as you exhale, the head bows. And 2 more times here. Again, what do you notice? No judgment, it just is what it is. Pressing into that right hand, bring that left arm up and over. Other side, pressing into that left hand, bring the right arm up and over. Just back and forth here a few times, still connected with breath. Maybe just reflecting on the way that God provides to you through your yoga practice. What are the benefits of your practice? What do you notice? Next time that right hand comes down, leave it there. Left arm reaches, reaches, reaches. And then we're going to stretch through the outside of the back. So go ahead and walk that right arm a little further out to the side if that works for you. Round your shoulder slightly and let your left hand drop in front of your knee. And then from here, just begin to walk that left hand out a little bit. Maybe that right arm drops a little bit. And so just explore it. There's so many different options here. Move a little bit. Find your stretch. Let the head get heavy. And just notice which stretch you chose. Is it in the upper back or the lower back? Maybe it's in the neck. Take another 2 breaths here. Find release with breath. Gently press into that front arm, hand over hand, come up to center. Both arms to the side. Take a deep breath in, let the arms rise, gaze up. And exhale, bowing your head as the hands come down. So this time that left arm is pressing into that mat. That right arm is going to reach. Stretch and press. Find breath. And maybe this is where you'd like to stay, or maybe you'd like to shift the stretch a little bit. So if you would, go ahead and walk the left hand out. Drop that right shoulder just a little bit. That right hand in front of the knee. Begin to walk that hand out from the knee. Again, maybe you drop into this other arm a little bit. And so again, for you, find your stretch. So if you've been following along on my journey here, I'm still recovering from a breast biopsy. So, with all of that, I don't have the range of motion I usually do, but I can really feel the stretch. It's not what it looks like. It's what it feels like. Where do you choose to stretch today? As you're ready, gently come up, hand over hand over hand, come back to center. Walk the hands back, deep breath in, arms rise, exhaling, palms together, and bring hands to heart, bowing your head. Closing your eyes, just thank God, Jehovah Jireh, for his provision, our God who provides. As you're ready, if you're up on a blanket or block, go ahead and come off that. If you have props, I invite you to bring them to the front edge of the mat and bring that right leg out to the side. Left foot comes into the thigh, kind of like a tree pose. Go ahead and point and flex. Notice what's going on in this straight leg. If you'd like a block underneath the knee, if your hamstrings are really tight, that might be helpful. And then turning towards the leg, exhale and come forward. Inhale and come back. Back and forth here. As you're ready, come all the way forward, settle in. Engaging through the abdominals, let the head come down towards the knees. And just find your stretch here. So as we think about releasing through the hips, part of that is stretching the hamstrings. Take that right hand to the center of the thigh and press down and take 2 deep breaths. Rise up just a little bit, and as you exhale, fold over the leg again. Just notice where you go. And maybe if you imagine the elbows drawing in towards the ribs and the ribs reaching towards the elbows, you also find a stretch in the hips or the lower back. Taking a deep breath in, bring hands to either side of the leg. Walk it back. We're going to bring that left hand behind the hip. Sweep that right arm forward. Lift all the way up. Hips come forward. Tuck the shoulder blades underneath the rib cage. Find breath. And exhaling, release. Other side. Take that left leg out to the side. Again, point and flex. Notice what's going on in that leg today. Create some traction with this right foot pressing into the thigh. And then exhaling, begin to come forward from the hip crease and back, and notice what's going on in this leg today. Again, maybe sensations are very similar, right side and left side, or maybe they are very different. As you're ready, come forward and settle. Let your head drop down, shake your head out, no and yes. Find length in the spine and notice where you feel the stretch. Take that left hand to the thigh and press down for 2 big breaths. On that inhale, rise up, and exhale and come forward, letting the head come down towards the leg. Where did your stretch go? Taking a deep breath in, hands to either side of the leg, come up. Bring that right hand behind you, sweep that left arm in front, pressing up, open up. Again, just tucking those shoulder blades under, finding stretch and release. And exhale down. Meet me in table, bending the knees, place them underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders, spread the fingertips nice and wide. I invite you to press through the base of the first finger, pinky finger each side of the wrist. Create a little bubble of air, and then as you bring the fingertips into the mat and towards the wrist, maybe a little bit of that pressure on the wrist comes off. Pressing into the tops of the feet. Can you take the weight away from the kneecaps? And from here, exhale, rounding the back up to the sky, find cat. And breathing in, chest comes through the arms, tilt the hips towards the mat, find cow. So cat and cow here, this first check-in on back mobility today. What do you notice? 2 more times here, cat to cow. I invite you to take one hand forward, then the other. Meet me in kneeling plank, and from plank, come all the way down to the mat. Forearms to the side, fingers spread wide, rise in and out of Sphinx a couple of times. And then as the head comes down towards the mat again, can you draw those shoulders slightly forward, rounding them forward, you're protracting them, and then rotate them back and down and open up into Sphinx and hold it here. And maybe you can stretch the abdominals a little bit longer from hip to collarbone. Maybe you can tighten up the muscles of the legs and press through the feet a little bit more. And exhaling, come down to the mat and hands to the rib cage, rise up to table and meet me in child. From child's pose, come back up into table and curling the toes underneath. Go ahead and tilt those hips again, just as if you were coming into cow, dropping the hip points towards the mat. And then bring the knees up to meet the rib cage. Let the head come between the elbows, shake it out, no and yes. Begin to pedal through the feet. As we think about releasing the upper back today, maybe you play a little with the rotation of the hands as well. Maybe those pointer fingers come towards the corners of the mat. Deep breath in, heels rise, exhaling, heels come back. You draw the biceps inward a little bit, reaching the fingers forward. On that next inhale, right leg rises high, gaze comes forward, foot comes all the way through the arms. Let that back knee tap down and up. Begin to stretch the psoas, the front of the hip on that left side. Maybe you've been sitting or in a car for long periods of a time. Can you find that release up and down the front of the hip? Let the back knee come down, top of the foot to the mat. And begin to gently kind of bring that back hip a little bit forward and in as that front hip, that hip crease reaches towards that wall behind you. Taking a deep breath in, draw the arms all the way up. Exhaling, bring them out to the side. Exhale forward as those arms roll forward. Inhale, draw the arms back. Raise the hands up into cactus and find your back bend. Deep breath in, arms rise. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Go ahead and raise that back leg. Take that front foot to the back. Meet me in plank. And from plank, again, find your way down to the mat. And this time exploring low cobra. Come to your fingertips and hands are out to the side. And gently again, just draw those shoulders forward. And then round them up and back and down. Rotating those shoulder blades, tucking them under. Finding your low cobra. Pressing through the tops of your feet. Exhale to the mat. Hands to rib cage, come back through child. Breathe into table. Tilting the hips. Come into downward facing dog, meeting me there. Stay here for a couple more breaths. Deep breath in, left leg rises high. Drawing the gaze forward, bring the foot all the way through the hands. Back knee taps down and up. As you're ready, bring that knee down to the mat, top of the foot to the mat. Stay here for a few breaths. Begin to adjust the hips. So this back hip rotating slightly forward, lengthening through the hip. This front hip crease reaching back. And then inhale and rise up into your kneeling lunge. Hands out to the side. Exhale, draw those shoulders forward and down. Inhale, rotate, draw them back. Tuck those shoulder blades under. Bring the hands into cactus. Find your back bend. Deep breath in, arms rise, exhaling. Hands come down to the mat. Raise that back leg, bring the back leg to the front. Meet me in your first forward fold. Let the heads come down. Go ahead and hold on to the elbow and gently rock the body side to side. Can you let that upper back get heavy and reach towards the mat? Find your breath. Hands down to the mat, hands come up to shins. Take a nice deep breath in, come halfway up. Exhaling, come down and pushing through the feet, rise all the way up, palms together, push the arms up, up, up. And exhale, hands to heart. And as we find this first mountain pose today, I invite you to stay here and check in, closing your eyes. What do you notice? One more breath here. On that next inhale, arms rise. Exhaling, come forward, forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, come down, meet me in plank. And from plank, come down to the mat, however you choose to do that. And maybe you are in Sphinx, maybe you are in low cobra, or maybe those hands slide back a little as the body comes up and you find downward facing dog. Wherever you are, find your way back to down. No, that was upward facing dog, to downward facing dog. Taking a deep breath in, let the right leg rise high. So we're going to come into lizard. So gaze forward. Go ahead and bring that foot to the outside edge of the hand and let that back knee drop down. So stay here for a moment. We're going to leave this foot anchored to the mat. Keep your weight a little bit at the base of the big toe there. Notice your stretch and the psoas of that back leg, inner thigh, and groin of the front. Then we're going to move this stretch into the back as well. So similar to what we did when we were sitting, you're going to go ahead and move this outside hand a little bit out to the side. Move the inside hand, this right hand, towards the corner of the mat, kind of in alignment with that knee. And then just drop that outside arm, reach that inside arm, figure out where your gaze falls, and then adjust it. Find your stretch. I invite you to take another 2 breaths here. As you're ready, press into your hands and come back. Toe heel that front to center, raise that back knee up. Come into that high lunge, hands down. Press into the inside hand, the left hand. Go ahead and twist with those oblique muscles as the arm follows and reaches towards the sky. And exhale, hands to either side of the foot. Lift the hips and push off with that back foot, meeting me in forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, come down, pushing through the feet. Come all the way up. Hands to heart. Find your breath. Check in. What do you notice? On the next breath, arms rise, exhaling. Hands come down to the mat. Hands to shins, rise up halfway, exhaling, come down, one leg back and then the other, meet me in plank. From plank, again, find your practice today. How are you coming down to the mat? What is your back bend? Find your way back to downward facing dog. Shake your head out, no and yes. Stay here. On that left side, foot rises high. So we're coming into lizard, gaze forward, foot's going to come to the outside of that hand. Back knee drops. Stay here. Keep the foot solidly on the mat. Press a little bit into the inside of the foot, the heel, center of the heel and the base of the big toe. Gently drop that back hip. Finding the back stretch, the right arm is going to come out to the side. That left arm is going to reach towards the corner of the mat. Maybe the right arm comes down as that left arm reaches. Again, be intentional about the position of the head. The head weighs a lot, so where you put the head matters. Where is your stretch here? Stay here for 2 more breaths. Can you use that exhale to find a little more release? As you're ready, release, push into the hands, come back to center and toe heel that foot back to center. Raise that back leg, knee rises high, press into the right hand, twist with the abdominals and follow with that arm, left arm reaches high. Exhaling, hands come down. If you have a block, I invite you to bring it with you as you face the wide edge of the mat. So let's just start with a wide leg forward fold. So my feet are wide, my feet are parallel to the edges of the mat. Toes pointing forward. Let the top of the head reach towards the mat. And just find your stretch. So I'm on my forearms here and my hands are together in prayer. That's one option. And maybe you don't go that low, of course. Or maybe your arms are even parallel in front of you. Again, what's best for you today? And then gently pressing into the hands and rising up, I invite you to get that block and make a tower with the block. Let's go ahead and bring the left hand to the block, fingers pointing towards the center, and bring the block directly underneath the shoulder. Now that right arm is going to reach up and you're going to twist. Exhale and you're going to come under. And again, you're going to find your range of motion. I'm pretty limited here. So, just go where your body goes. Listen to your body. I think that's one of the hardest things of my journey through the years that I've had to learn. So one more time, go ahead and bring that arm up. And then turn the palm towards you and bring it up and over. And find your twist as you begin to wrap the abdominals around and reach towards the side and up. And find breath here. And then exhaling, come back to center. Bring that arm around and down. Moving the block out of the way, I invite you just to come to a deeper forward fold for a moment. Find whatever release feels best to you. And then same thing on the other side. So let's start with that right arm now. Fingers are reaching to the inside. And again, get that block directly underneath the shoulders. You can use your video to help you. Deep breath in. That arm rises high. Exhale, come down. 2 more times here. So again, just reaching with those abdominals, coming back down. Use the breath to guide it. 1 more time here. And then as you're ready, come all the way up, stay up, and palm towards me. Reach overhead. Stretch. Use those abdominals. Engage the muscles of the legs. Press those feet down into the earth. And as you're ready, raise that arm back up and unwind. Go ahead and move the block out of the way. Go ahead and pivot towards the front edge of the mat. Front foot comes to the back. Meet me there. And again, come all the way down to the mat. Find your back bend. And then as you're ready, come back to child's pose. And I invite you to come in and out of child's pose twice. So as you come in and out of child's pose into table, how does the body feel now compared to when you started today? What do you notice? And whenever you're ready, I invite you to come into child's pose and stay there. So where are the knees? Are they close together? Are they wider apart? Where are the arms? Are they reaching in front of you? Are they down to your side? Maybe even holding your feet? And where do you find the most release? Maybe even the wrists are high and you're up on your fingertips and you find a release there. Yet another option, palms together, coming up and back towards your back. What feels good to you today? And as you stay in this pose, again, just reflecting and praising and thanking God for what He is providing you with today. Where have you seen His hand at work? As you're ready, bring the hands back to the mat in front of you and gently press into the hands as you rise up, coming to a sitting position. Go ahead and bring the feet a little bit wide and gently lower body twist as those knees dip towards the center of the mat. And then as you're ready, go ahead and bring the feet a little bit closer to each other, hip width apart. Come down onto your back. Let's find a hip stretch here. So we're going to press into that right foot. Again, imagine that you're pushing the earth away from you. Flex that left foot and bring the knee up. So you're making a little triangle here. I invite you to take your hands underneath the small of your back. Deep breath in. Can you maintain that? Can you maintain that space as you anchor through the abdominals? And then from here, gently bring the legs towards you, but you're keeping that space. And hands behind the thigh, and maybe the shin of that back leg is parallel to the floor. Maybe foot is reaching to the ceiling. Maybe the heel is down. All are good options. What's best for you in the moment? And if you'd like a little more, maybe you can take this inside hand, this left hand, to the thigh and gently move that thigh away from the body. And what does that do to the stretch? So stay here for another 2 breaths. As you're ready, let the foot come down to the mat. Go ahead and you're going to bring your leg over. So you're going to leave your legs where they are. And this left foot is going to come all the way over towards the mat. And that right hand reaches for the foot, knee comes up. So again, just play with it a little bit. Where's the stretch? And if you'd like a little more of a hip stretch, you can take this left thumb, press it into the hip crease, and gently draw that hip away from you and down. This is one of my favorite hip stretches. I actually picked it up from Jason Crandall, another great yoga instructor you can find out there. There are so many. As you're ready, release. Gently come up. Go ahead and take your feet wide and your knees in, hands down at your sides. I invite you to close your eyes and just to settle here for a couple of breaths. As you're ready, go ahead and bring those feet back in. So now your right foot is on top of your left knee. Again, hands underneath the back, set it up. So you've got that little space there. You're going to anchor. Belly button's going to come in and up and a little bit, towards the spine and towards the rib cage. And then from there, that back leg lifts. Maybe your hands just stay here. Maybe they come down to your side. Maybe you hold on behind the leg. And again, play with it a little bit. What does it feel like for that back foot to drop down? Shin parallel, leg to the sky. Where do you feel the stretch that's best for you? Maybe it's different than it was last time you did this. Always listening to the body. If you'd like a little more hip stretch on that right side, hand can come to the thigh. Just gently begin to push that knee away from the body, but the hand's on the thigh, not the knee. Pushing the leg away. One more breath here. And as you're ready, that leg comes down and this top foot comes over onto the mat. So as that left foot presses down, maybe that left hand presses to the foot, or the right foot presses down, maybe that left hand reaches for it. And if you want a little more hip stretch, you're going to take that right thumb into that right hip crease. And again, just gently pushing the hip crease away from the body and down slightly towards the mat. Find your stretch. Can you keep that big toe pressing into the floor or the mat? As you're ready, exhaling, come back to center. And again, unwinding the legs, go ahead and bring the legs long. Let the knees drop in together, arms down. Find your breath here, checking in, letting the body relax and release. Gently toe heel the legs in, bringing the knees up, big toes together. Take a nice big circle in the opposite directions with those knees. Knees come into the rib cage, away from each other, towards the feet. Maybe one more circle here, and then as you're ready, go the other direction. I invite you to bring your feet down. Go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees just come out to the side. So another stretch for the inner thigh and the groin here. And notice what happens if you activate the muscles. Maybe pressing the feet in a little bit, engaging the abdominals. Take a nice deep breath in. And what happens if you relax the muscles? Again, just finding the stretch that's best for you and staying here for 3 breaths. As you're ready, hands underneath your legs, gently bring your legs up, feet flat to the mat. Drawing the knees in, bring the knees in towards the rib cage, gently pressing away, back and forth here, connected to breath. And as you're ready, extend your legs long. Maybe wiggle a little bit. Windshield wiper the feet, bounce the knees, shift the hips. Let the arms reach up to the sky. Reach, 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 and exhale. Let the shoulder blades thump down. Maybe one more time there. And hands come down to the side, palms up. Sometimes the provisions of God are not what we expect. Sometimes they are not what we are looking for. Opening yourself up today to all that He has for you. I invite you to stay here a little longer if you can. If you need to get on with your day, gently begin to bring movement back, wiggling fingers and toes, rotating wrists and ankles, turning your head side to side. Taking a deep breath in, bring arms up and overhead and stretch and reach. Fingers to one wall, toes to the other. And as you're ready, bend your knees and roll over onto your side. Supporting your head with your arm, find breath. Taking a deep breath in, press into your hands and rise up. Meet me in a sitting position, finding your sitting bones. Eyes still closed if you're comfortable with that. Check in one final time, body, mind, and soul, remembering where you were when you came to the mat today. Noticing where you are now, accepting it as it is. Taking a deep breath in, arms rise up and overhead, palms together, and exhaling, bring hands to heart. Bowing your head, joining me in prayer. Jehovah Jireh, our God who provides. We are so thankful for all of the ways that you provide for us. Nurturing our bodies, minds, and souls. Food and shelter. The community of people around us. Your word and the presence of your Spirit. Help us also to provide for others. Instill in us a spirit of generosity and open heart, that all may know who you are and whose we are. It is in the powerful name of Jesus that we pray. Amen. Thank you for joining me today.